from the male side and the female side to bring a certain um, just a certain camaraderie to the and togetherness to the bunch, and knowledge from various areas and topics, and hopefully that could you know help some of the younger brothers and the brothers who haven't experienced certain things in life. Hopefully it can help them understand certain things and being better men, husbands and fathers, and so on and so forth. And so that's what I hope to bring to the platform. And I want to say again, shalom to everybody, and peace and blessings and all that to those who don't understand Hebrew or whatnot. And just here to bring the love and
Is you still talking? You still talking? Aki, we can't hear you. I think he is he done? So
Yeah,
you breaking
I
up?
can't hear him either.
me
Yeah, you kind
I
of
think
breaking up
I
right
think he's going through a dead zone.
now. Yeah, yeah. Well, what we'll do is try to see if you could come out and come back in if you can. Aki, for some reason, it's going in and out, but we'll keep it moving. Or we could try again. Um, what I want to do. So, shalom to all of you. This is More Shabbat Yahu. And first off, I just want to say, man, these are some awesome brothers, man. We got two humble brothers, Yeshayahu, humble. You know what I'm saying? This man has a bachelor in psychology. You know what I'm saying? He's doing good things with children and things like that. And got some moves to make with young adults and adults as well. So I like his humility, but I wanted to make sure I give y'all that background of him. I don't know if he's okay with me doing that, but I had to do that. Um, the brother Prince Shaul, very insightful brother, wise beyond his years, and he has some things in store too that he's working on. Also, just got married, so all praise to the Most High, and hope more blessing and peace comes to him and his beloved wife Yana. So, me, I'll be real quick, real simple. Um, I started off. Um, all of us started. Well, I believe all of us started off in church, the Christian church, and things of that nature. But coming to the knowledge of, I guess you could say, truth, and learning history. History was big for me. Um, my pedigree, I would say, it started off in also IOG in Chicago. Branched off into learning more about history, more about culture, and from a biblical standpoint, and started to study other, I guess you'd say, religions to see the similarities or the differences. Um, then I came across a wise man by the name of Chief Prince Zebulon. And I had another platform that I brought to the brothers that I thought was pretty good for the community, because my quote unquote ministry more so it is geared towards family structure. Even in the topic that we're talking today, I really believe that if family structure and community, Kehillah, was the foundation of us as a people, this stuff wouldn't be happening. But I would go into that later. But that's what kind of brought me to um, being really close to Chief Zeb, because he is a historian, as you all will know. Very, as you can see the books behind his head, by the way. He turns around. He's a historian, proficient in the Hebrew language, a couple dialects at that. Um, author. That's what gravitated me towards him, and he's actually the one that ordained me as a Moreh. So I got to give honor and praise to the Most High for his life. I'm also an author as well, so that's another reason that brought me towards him. I love the way he presents and the way he teaches. Um, and one other part of my pedigree that I'm actually establishing, actually with the brother that I mentioned, Shaul, is with Elder More Shalim. Um, he's like a chief Zeb when it comes to the land. Very, very knowledgeable, and that's going to actually go into our topic today too. So I'm gonna bring that out later. I just wanted to put that out there. Wanted us to introduce each other, let the audience know a little bit about ourselves. But as they continue to not follow, but just accompany us on this journey, then I believe they'll get to learn us better. So, without further ado, we want to go into the next topic. The next topic is George Floyd. The next topic is George Floyd. Um, and I guess the first part of this topic is what happened and why is this important? Why is this such an important subject, an important matter? What happened that caused this? So I would like to go perhaps in the order, or no order. We could all drop in and talk whenever we feel. What happened?
Right. Maurice Shema, if you don't mind, did you want to play the video first, or you want to just
Yeah, you know what? Thank you. Yes. See, man. Look, I knew.
Yeah.
Yes, Yahoo was good for something, y'all. I knew he was good for something. Even though I just talked so highly of him, that's my brother, man. But so what we're gonna do, what we're gonna do, and I appreciate him mentioning it. We're gonna go ahead and share a video. A lot of you know what's going on based off of social media, the news, things of that nature. But we have a video that kind of goes into detail a little bit more. So without further ado, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let the video play. It's about 9 minutes. Let's check it out.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Okay. All right, it should be coming up momentarily. Let me know. Can y'all hear the volume?
It's a Monday evening in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Police respond to a call about a man who allegedly used a counterfeit $20 bill to buy cigarettes. 17 minutes later, the man they are there to investigate lies motionless on the ground and is pronounced dead shortly after. The man was 46-year-old George Floyd, a bouncer originally from Houston who'd lost his job at a restaurant when the coronavirus pandemic hit. Floyd's death triggered major protests in Minneapolis and sparked rage across the country. One of the officers involved, Derek Chauvin, has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The other 3 officers have been charged with aiding and abetting murder. The Times analyzed bystander videos, security camera footage, and police scanner audio, spoke to witnesses and experts, and reviewed documents released by the authorities to build as comprehensive a picture as possible and better understand how George Floyd died in police custody. The events of May 25th begin here. Floyd is sitting in the driver's seat of this blue SUV. Across the street is a convenience store called Cup Foods. Footage from this restaurant's security camera helps us understand what happens next. Note that the timestamp on the camera is 24 minutes fast. At 7:57 p.m., 2 employees from Cup Foods confront Floyd and his companions about an alleged counterfeit bill he just used in their store to buy cigarettes. They demand the cigarettes back, but walk away empty-handed. 4 minutes later, they call the police. According to the 911 transcript, an employee says that Floyd used fake bills to buy cigarettes and that he is awfully drunk and not in control of himself. Soon, the first police vehicle arrives on the scene. Officers Thomas Lane and J. Alexander Koenig step out of the car and approach the police. Seconds later, Lane pulls his gun. We don't know exactly why, and orders Floyd to put his hands on the wheel. Lane reholsters the gun, and after about 90 seconds of back and forth, yanks Floyd out of the SUV. A man is filming the confrontation from a car parked behind them. The officers cuff Floyd's hands behind his back, and Koenig walks him to the restaurant wall.
What's your name?
From the 911 transcript and the footage, we now know 3 important facts. First, that the police believed they were responding to a man who was drunk and out of control. But second, even though the police were expecting this situation, we can see that Floyd has not acted violently. And third, that he seems to already be in distress. 6 minutes into the arrest, the 2 officers move Floyd back to their vehicle. As the officers approach their car, we can see Floyd fall to the ground. According to the criminal complaints filed against the officers, Floyd says he is claustrophobic and refuses to enter the police car. During the struggle, Floyd appears to turn his head to address the officers multiple times. According to the complaints, he tells them he can't breathe. 9 minutes into the arrest, the 3rd and final police car arrives on the scene. It's carrying officers Tu Tao and Derek Chauvin. Both have previous records of complaints brought against them. Tao was once sued for throwing a man to the ground and hitting him. Chauvin has been involved in 3 police shootings, one of them fatal. Chauvin becomes involved in the struggle to get Floyd into the car. Security camera footage from Cub Foods shows Koenig struggling with Floyd in the back seat while Tao watches. Chauvin pulls him through the back seat and onto the street. We don't know why. Floyd is now lying on the pavement, face down. That's when 2 witnesses begin filming, almost simultaneously. The footage from the first witness shows us that all 4 officers are now gathered around Floyd. It's the first moment when we can clearly see that Floyd is face down on the ground, with 3 officers applying pressure to his neck, torso, and legs. At 8:20 p.m., we hear Floyd's voice for the first time. The video stops when Lane appears to tell the person filming to walk away. The officers radio a code 2, a call for non-emergency medical assistance, reporting an injury to Floyd's mouth. In the background, we can hear Floyd struggling. The call is quickly upgraded to a code 3, a call for emergency medical assistance. By now, another bystander, 17-year-old Darnella Frazier, is filming from a different angle. Her footage shows that despite calls for medical help, Chauvin keeps Floyd pinned down for another 7 minutes. We can't see whether Koenig and Lane are still applying pressure.
What do you want? I can breathe. Please, the name of it. I can breathe, see it.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been waiting the whole car. Get up, get in the car.
Mama.
Get up, get in the car right.
I can't.
In the 2 videos, Floyd can be heard telling officers that he can't breathe at least 16 times in less than 5 minutes.
I cannot breathe in the red. I cannot breathe.
But Chauvin never takes his knee off of Floyd, even as his eyes close and he appears to go unconscious.
Look at him. Get off the ground. What is wrong with you? He got names. He got names.
According to medical and policing experts, these 4 police officers are committing a series of actions that violate policies and in this case turn fatal. They've kept Floyd lying face down, applying pressure for at least 5 minutes. This combined action is likely compressing his chest and making it impossible to breathe. Chauvin is pushing his knee into Floyd's neck, a move banned by most police departments.
Bro, he's not moving.
No, did they kill him, bro?
Minneapolis Police Department policy states an officer can only do this if someone is, quote, actively resisting. And even though the officers call for medical assistance, they take no action to treat Floyd on their own while waiting for the ambulance to arrive.
You think that's okay? Check his pulse. Check his Check his pulse. Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
According to the complaints against the officers, Lane asks him twice if they should roll Floyd onto his side. Chauvin says no. 20 minutes into the arrest, an ambulance arrives on the scene.
Get off of his neck!
The EMTs check Floyd's pulse.
Are you serious?
Chauvin keeps his knee on Floyd's neck for almost another whole minute, even though Floyd appears completely unresponsive. He only gets off once the EMTs tell him to. Chauvin's kept his knee on Floyd's neck for a total of 8 minutes and 46 seconds, according to the complaint filed against him. Floyd is loaded into the ambulance. The ambulance leaves the scene, possibly because a crowd is forming, but the EMTs call for additional medical help from the fire department.
You added fire to your run.
But when the engine arrives, the officers give them, quote, no clear info on Floyd or his whereabouts, according to a fire department incident report. This delays their ability to help the paramedics. Meanwhile, Floyd is going into cardiac arrest.
320, if you could let MSD know that EMS needs the fire needs to go to Pumpkin 36 for patient the full last now.
It takes the engine 5 minutes to reach Floyd and the ambulance. Pronounced dead at a nearby hospital around 9:25 p.m. Preliminary autopsies conducted by the state and Floyd's family both ruled his death a homicide. The widely circulated arrest videos don't paint the entire picture of what happened to George Floyd. Additional video and audio from the body cameras of the key officers would reveal more about why the struggle began and how it escalated. The city quickly fired all 4 officers, and Chauvin has been charged with second-degree murder. Thomas Lane, J. Alexander Koenig, and Tu Tao were charged with aiding and abetting murder. But outrage over George Floyd's death has only spread further and further across the United States.
All right. Excellent video. Before, you know what? Let's hold a stamp on that. I would like to know before because I have another video. I want to show you, we want to show you the difference on how a similar situation, it's actually different because as we can see, George Floyd was not aggressive. Well, it's a different outcome that takes place. But before we show that video, I would love to hear what my co-panelist has to say about what they saw. And then I'll just go, I'll come in as you all are speaking because I have a couple takes with that video because it showed a whole lot that I did not see before. So anybody come in if they want, or I'll go ahead and continue one or the other.
Okay, I mean, the video was pretty much. I think at this point in the, with the events that's occurred, pretty much most of what we've seen in the video was pretty much known. But there's something that I saw that somebody had or somebody on YouTube. I didn't know the person personally, but we were in a chat on another video a couple weeks ago, and they pointed something out that I never noticed in the video. And I'm sure maybe you know this one as well. They pointed out the issue pertaining to the EMT workers. That when the ambulance pulled up, not only was the EMT not actually doing anything for George Floyd, but apparently, if you look closely at them, they don't appear to be EMT workers. The people who got out of the ambulance, they got guns on their side. So now that's making people think,
wow,
that, hey, you got police jumping out of the EMT, out of the ambulance, and maybe that explains why these individuals didn't actually do anything for George Floyd. They just kind of picked him up and then brought him in the ambulance. They didn't test his pulse to see was he still alive or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I look back into the video and I'm like, wait a minute. I've never seen EMT workers with guns.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm not, far be it from me to say, false flag and all of that other stuff, whatever like that. But I thought that was an interesting point that we're not hearing a whole lot about in the usual social media narratives. I don't know how that's going to pan out going forward, and is that going to be an issue that's going to be brought up, in the trial of this officer, if he, in fact, I mean, who knows what's going to happen. But I just thought it was very interesting that something like that, an EMT would pull up, an ambulance pulls up, and workers jump out that doesn't even appear to be appear to be EMT workers. It's very very interesting. That's what I have at the particular moment. So
Right. Go ahead. Yes, Yahoo.
Yeah, it's interesting that Chief pointed that out, because I also noticed back in my days at ROTC, right, we were a part of a group or a team or a section called the Raiders team, and one of the things that we got training in was how to carry out a body, whether it was an injured person or a dead body or what have you. So we will move dummies, and we will perform, life-saving steps and things like that. So we learned a little bit about CPR and what to do if a person is hurt or experiencing shock, or, all of those type of things. And what I noticed in that video is even with the EMTs, they didn't properly secure his head when they transported the body
Right.
on the gurney. They also left him handcuffed, which further twisted the body. And then what really caught me was how one of the officers asked, should we turn the man onto his side, so he can, that would automatically open the airways a little bit, so he can get some breath. And, I know in my little understanding of the medical field, these things are all important. If these are supposed to be indeed EMTs and police officers and what have you, the life-saving steps should be, I guess, top priority. You know what I mean? So looking at the video, I find it surprising, and you can't say, hey, maybe the crowd was a little too rambunctious, because the crowd wasn't that big to where you couldn't properly do your job. Or it wasn't a case where, hey, we have to drag this person to a place of safety because, hey, we're experiencing some form of attack. They already had the area, sectioned off, and they had their levels of boundaries already set between the public and the police. So it was no way that, Mr. Floyd should have been treated like that, whether in any sense, you know what I mean?
Right.
So those
you know what's crazy? What you had said real quick. You said they asked the question, should they turn them to the side? Do you remember the officer said no?
No, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Which is my question is, why not?
Right.
I mean, and that's a tactic of torture. You know what I mean? I want him to feel this pain. I mean, in my opinion, from Rip, that whole situation could have been dealt with in another manner. Coming from the areas that I come from, fake 20s, fake 10s, even fake 100s get passed around. Matter of fact, I got a fake bill from the bank before.
Now I'm glad you brought that up. Let's capitalize on that real quick. Let's capitalize on that real quick. I want Shaul to come in on this, what he thinks on this. Shaul. So I'm glad he said that, because I was talking to somebody about that. I said, wait a minute. So they came with they came outside. They asked them about the fraudulent 20. Now, nobody thought to think that maybe he was like, dude, I got that 20 from somebody else. I didn't know it was fraudulent or nothing. So what's your take on that? Like capitalizing off of what Yeshayahu just brought out. Good stuff, Yeshayahu.
About the counterfeit 20.
Yeah. Like what do you I mean, do you think that they even thought about that? You know what I'm saying? Or like we don't really know what was really said at that moment at the car. We don't know what he said. He could have said exactly what, Yeshayahu bring it out. Or what I just said. What's your take on
Um, well, honestly, I don't really know enough. I don't really have enough information on the counterfeit 20. I did hear about that. Um, from what I was hearing about that was that allegedly that was something that he had been doing for years. Was um,
that?
just from people around the neighborhood that that supposedly knew him. That
Okay.
he was basically like a cat that they used to hustle around the way. You know, um, you know, whether it be dealing with money or dealing with some type of illegal whatever. Um, Now I never take what people were saying for face value and just run with that. I'm not entirely sure if that's really what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case is. But like you said, I think you gave a great example of like how do we know he didn't get the 20 from someone else. I
Right.
mean, and it was, and just didn't know. So it's a lot of, I mean, you got to be careful with stuff like that, man, because you just really never know how true the story is. Like, what was he really a hustler type cat that was doing that on a regular basis? I don't really believe that. If that's what's some people were saying, I really don't believe it. Like, who goes around with fake money and hadn't been caught yet? I don't know, but
Right. Right.
um, it don't make sense to me. But so it's like when you're dealing with social media and the internet, man, you just really never know what's true. Me personally, I don't believe that that was the case. I would take more of the stance that you Maurice Shema have as far as how do we know where he got 20 from? Like he could have got it from someone else who maybe he got broke 100 and got it all 20s or something,
Right.
and got it from them. Like, we really don't know. I mean, I believe what wasn't the brother with one of his couple of his family members at the time when it happened.
He was with somebody. I didn't pay attention to that part.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Okay.
believe he was with a sibling, maybe two siblings, or maybe a uncle and a sibling.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But he was with someone. He was with some family members.
Right.
And so when I think about it from that perspective, it just looked. I don't think that he was doing anything wrong necessarily, because he's with them. They're all driving or getting ready to go somewhere or coming from somewhere. So I just don't think that that would be the case if he's with someone and he's trying to basically panhandle on counterfeit 20. I don't believe.
And my question, this go to Chief, man. This go to Chief. This go to Rosh in Hebrew. So Chief, why normally when we go somewhere we buy something, one of the first things they do is they look at the the bill. They don't come out of the store to let somebody know, hey, this bill is so and so. And normally that's only with big bills too, by the way, not even 20s.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that out there and then see what you have to say with that.
Hey, that made perfect sense too.
Bruh, they don't want us out there. They don't want the Masada Watchmen out there with this, bro. But go ahead. Hallelujah. Go ahead.
No, I mean, listen. Go ahead, Prince.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is who called the police on them after the fact? That's the part that don't make sense.
Right. And we saw them walk out there. So all this is a little strange, but I'm not no conspiracy theorist.
It's all strange. It's all strange.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, go ahead, old Chief. What's your take on that?
Listen, as far as the whole, conspiracy theorist thing, let me just put this out there before I go forward. there's a saying about conspiracy theory. The definition is a conspiracy theorist is a person who questions the statements of known liars. You're talking about a people. And I'm not. This is not a ethnic issue. This is a political, social issue. We're in a place. We're in a nation in which everything is up for debate. Everything.
That's facts.
So there's nothing wrong with saying, wait a minute, this bastard here lies all the damn time. Why should I not question what he's saying now? He's a liar. This is what they do. So I think we need to be kind of, careful with the conspiracy theory, but at the same time, like, wait a minute, no. If this was a Hebrew, another fellow Hebrew, or someone that has some type of reputation for being on the up and up, then yeah, we can kind of fall back. But we're talking about people who lie about things as simple as an ingredient on a food item in a restaurant.
Right.
They'll lie to you about the ingredients, like, it's 100% this, and then the ingredients, it's not. Like, who does that? You see what I'm saying? So absolutely, we should question everything.
You're right. You're right.
But to your point, as far as the the bill, and I agree. I mean, you go into listen. I've never seen anybody when I go into a bodega, like when I was in New York or whatever. You go into a bodega, getting something, and you pull out a 20. I've never seen a store clerk under any circumstance say, "Hold on, sir, take my $20 bill, mark it up, and put it to the." I've never seen that, but I have seen it with 50s and bills higher.
Yeah.
I
saw it in a bank. I think in a bank I saw a 20 one time in the bank, but I've never, out of my almost 36 years of living, I've never seen nothing from 50 and up is what I'm saying. But go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So it's funny that y'all say that because I actually can attest to this. And I'm about to even shout out the store. It was a store on Park Ave, right? Park Ave in North. Those who know the North area, they know Park Ave. It was a sea town, and they used to check everything from the 5 to the 10 to the 20 and up. But this is the thing. If there was a fake bill, they would do that. You gave them your bill, they would mark it in front of your face, and it would be handled right then and there. Whether you were snatching up, running out the store with it, that's stealing. That's a different story. Or it was, hey, this is a fake bill. Here you go. Can you give me something different? Boom, they handle it there. But I have never in my life seen a store accept a fake bill, then proceeded to antagonize the person that gave it to them once they have already left the store and was chilling in a spot.
Right.
My man was chilling in the car, door open and everything, relaxed.
And wait, this raises a question right here. Watch this. Man, I'm already loving this show, man. This is about to be crazy. Watch this. If this was a fake bill, is he gonna be sitting in a car chilling with his door open, right outside the store?
I mean, unless he had it like that, but I mean, unless he was that dude, and it don't appear that he was trying to even operate like he was. So my question goes: after they antagonized them, and of course you already know what that type of energy is. Somebody walk up on me like, "Hey, yo, this is what it is." I'm like, "I'm already out your store, bro. Get out my face."
Yeah.
And that might sound a little brash, but I done left your establishment already. So y'all trying to come up on me. And then I believe, I can't say this because I wasn't there, but from what I watched, it seemed like the workers that was inside the store that came out might have been the ones who called the cops and said that he was being belligerent. But when we look at the video, they were the ones who were acting hostile.
Oh, we gonna get on that. Yeah, good. You fast forwarding it right now, but I'm
I apologize.
No, you good, man. You good.
But
Hey,
but my
I'm
and I was gonna make this.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I was gonna make a point earlier along with that statement about the money. That listen, let's take the opposite spectrum position here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that he was peddling counterfeit bills, and let's say he was doing it for the last 30 years of his life. That's all he does in the hood is pitch fake money all over the place. Let's say that is the case. Absolutely, no doubt. That's what he does.
Okay.
Is that grounds for, forget about murder, is it even grounds for an assault?
Right.
That's all. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But again, that assumes, I guess in order to answer that question, we're assuming that these individuals are even seeing us from a platform of anything remotely close to equality. That's the assumption.
And Ross, Chief, watch this. You talking about assault or murder on someone that was not even. You know what? Play the video, Yahoo. Play the video. We talking about a murder and a killing. We talking about murder and a killing on a person that was not even fighting back. A person that was sitting there, chilling. They say he was drunk, but he did not look drunk to me. He sat down. They sat him down. He chilling. He ain't trying to get away. Then they move him to the car. He's starting to get a little scared and frantic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame him. You got 4 different cops, man. I can't put myself in this. But anyway, play the video, Yahoo, because now going into, ladies and gentlemen, before he play it, we're going to see. Now we're about to present a white individual. I believe he's white. And hey, I'm just bringing the facts. This is a fact that we're about to see. But I'm gonna shut up and let my brother bring this up.
What video you want again? I'm sorry. You want the
one in the 2-minute video. It's in
okay.
I sent it to the
I
message.
got you.
Okay.
I got you. It's coming up right now. Let me just get it queued up. Let me hit the share. I don't need these tips.
The Masada Watchmen people. We gonna be bringing some stuff to y'all, man.
Share audio.
View from Masada.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right. Dang, this thing ain't. Okay, let me click that.
What did he say? You that preset? Here we go.
It should be playing. Is it playing? It's not playing.
Not yet. Yeah. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to be racist to call a spade. I am not racist. But if you watch this video properly, take your time, you're going to see the problem. What's going on in these streets. 2 minutes. You're going to see a back and forth. A bunch of back and forth with a civilian. The question I would like to ask is it he has the complexion for the protection? Is it his epidermis that is allowing him to not get killed, not get shot? I mean, he did everything illegal to give them the right to shoot him, to tase him. And at no point did they tase him or shoot him. They were so composed. They maintained a level of composure even when he took the baton and whipped them with it. He used a rock in his hand as a weapon. And at no point did they feel as though he was a threat to their life where they had to use deadly force at no time, even when they're being slapped in the face with a baton. You're gonna get in trouble. Now, answer me this question, ladies and gentlemen. If this was a darker shade of melanin, if this was a brother from another mother, would he have survived? 10 seconds go by, 15 seconds go by. How many bullet holes would have been in this car? judgment.
All right, cool. So I want to bring something out before y'all go. If y'all can allow me, I want to point out a couple things in this before we get back to George.
Gentlemen, you don't have to be racist.
I'm letting you. It's
That
okay.
coming from me?
No, you get. That's coming from you. Okay, cool.
Watch this video.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you good. You are good. So check this out, you all. We're talking about George Floyd, but this is not solely about George Floyd. It's a question that is about to be asked that I'm about to bring forth after the panelists speak their mind real quick. We're gonna go into a following question before we hit the third segment. But I want to bring something out. In this next video that we saw, it's some things that bothers me. We see with the George Floyd, he is not resisting. He got the cuffs on him. He sits down on the wall like they tell him to. Then when he gets to the car, he's not fighting. He's not kicking. He's not doing any of that. He's scared. 6'5" dude, looks swollen in the mud. 6'5", I think. You know what I'm saying? But he's listening to them from a standpoint of not fighting. Okay. Now, in this video we just seen, we see a white man. I believe he's white, so-called white. And this is not, we do know that white people get killed by cops. So whoever's watching this that might not be a part of the community that we are a part of, understand we know that. But it is a disproportion. It's disproportion when it comes to how it's being handled with the so-called black man versus the so-called white. Okay, so I want to go forward and continue. We see that this man started beating him with a, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, a baton. I think something, I don't know what you call that, baton, maybe?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Okay, so he's beating him with this. Okay, keep that in question, keep that in mind. The guy that was talking on the video said something about tasered. He grabbed a taser, all that stuff, right? Gets in the car, pulls off. Now, they didn't do nothing at that time during the recording, right? I don't even know if the guy's dead. I probably gotta, and I'm being transparent right now because I didn't go past that to look and find out. So I want to make sure when I'm saying this on this platform, I don't want to be one of those people that didn't look and I'm trying to tell y'all this will happen. But according to the video, we see nothing that's happened, no killing. We have a brother in Atlanta. His name is Rayshard Brooks, 27 years old, if I'm not mistaken. My fellow brothers, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it happened Saturday or Friday night. One of the two. He was allegedly, and this is 3 weeks after George Floyd. Allegedly, and this is gonna go into our riot and all that stuff too. Oh my goodness, I love this show already.
There you go.
You know, hey, there we go. So you got Rayshard Brooks this weekend just got killed. I say murder, forget killed. He was tussling just like this white man was with the two police officers. They was fighting them and all that. Same concept, everything, you know. But they got tossed a little bit with Rayshard, you know, they was getting tossed. He reached for the taser because they was trying to taser him. Look the video, y'all can see it. He grabs the taser and he runs. He don't get in no car. He don't get no baton. He's not beating them. He's trying to get them off. He's not fighting. He doesn't get loose like the white man just got loose, grabbed the baton and started beating them with it. Then got in the car. He fought them off, pushed them off, grabbed the taser that he was getting tased with and ran. When he ran, the other officer shot and murdered him. I say murder because if a person is running, man, they're not a threat. And with that, I yield. I wanted to throw that in there. I wanted to throw that before we go into the following question. But I wanted to show the difference with this video. And we see that often with black versus white. And with that, I yield. The floor is you all. So what's y'all take on this second video? You know, how do you all feel about it? Do you think that, well, I already know that's not a real question. That's a goofy question about to justify. I was about to say justify. Look at you.
I'm gonna actually play the role of devil's advocate here.
Go ahead. Most definitely.
Because we need one of those, right?
Yes, we do.
Now, mind you, I mean, how I feel about the video that just played is going to be hard doing being devil's advocate, but I can do one.
Yeah,
So
man. You got it.
the two questions that we have to ask is, or we have to take into consideration, is what state that was in and the level of training that those officers had. Right. So a lot of times we see these videos that are being put out there, and I hate speaking this. We see these videos that are being put out there, and it's like, well, these police did this with this type of character, right? And then we say, okay, well, we have to take into consideration the outlier effects, their training. What's the predominant race inside of that community that they police? It seemed like they were saying that gentleman's name. Was this a repeated person, or was that the camera guy saying the guy's name?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I'm almost sure if it was a camera.
So, but you know, so to that effect, we got to do that. But I'm about to be real right now. Is it hurts to see these type of things because we're in a position where, you know, let's call a spade a spade. We done seen this too many times. Matter of fact, a good brother of mine, shout out to Josh. I believe his name is Zion on Facebook. You know, from DC, good brother. Runs a webpage called Lines and Precepts. Everybody go check that out. Shameless plug.
Very shameless.
He
extremely shameless.
He said something that was striking. He pulled up an article back from think about like 2017, and I think there was about 20 or so cases where there was some form of police brutality, and where a person died, and there was no conviction, or the police were let off the hook somehow. In a case like you stated, Maurice Shama, in a case with Mr. Floyd, we see he was pretty much compliant. You know what I mean? He might not have wanted to get in the car, but he was compliant. And it's far too many times we see a person complying and still it turns out sour. You know what I mean? Which we can't, I mean, so even though I made those points about, you know, considering the level of training, what was it, a couple years back, the police officer shot the man and said, oh, I feared for my life. And the man had his hands up. You know what I mean? I don't quite remember the names of that case, but a few years back, it was on video and everything, you know? So like you said, with the brother that was running away, first thing I want to point out is anytime it's already a felony when you hop inside of a police car to steal it. First and foremost, there's ammunition in there. They usually have extra guns, whether it be a shotgun or something else. They usually have, you know, other things that can cause harm. You know what I mean? On top of that, that car can be used as a weapon as well. So yeah, at that point, that situation was very much pushed to another level.
Hey, real quick. I got something I want to say. Shaul, can you do me the honors? Shaul, you listening? Can you finish my statement when I say this for me? Shaul, I need you to finish my statement. I don't care about
none of that.
I don't care about none of that advocate stuff. Look, man. You talking about training? You talking about?
I was actually waiting for Shaul to be like, nah, I don't rock with that.
I get it. That's what I'm saying.
Wait. We brothers. I want y'all to know we gonna have fun with this show too. But look, he was spitting facts. I'm gonna tell y'all, he's spitting facts. But when he said the amount of training, when you're a police
officer, your training is supposed to be across the board identical. You know, so that's it's supposed to be identically. I mean, ideally, maybe not. So I'm holding you at a certain standard. When I play basketball, if me and Shaul play basketball, we ain't no professionals. So it's like okay, because we love the sport. So I'm saying is it's not expected if somebody say, "Hey, I want him," that he gonna be like Kobe and Mike.
Mm.
But when you in the NBA, it's expected for you to do your job. You have a badge. You have a gun. That's deadly. You need to act professional. You scared?
Responsibility.
Get off the
Hey,
court.
true, man.
I,
And
Hey,
I
but
want to say this. I'm not going against my man Yeshayahu. He said facts, but I want to say one more thing in the famous words of Shaul, and I want him to finish my statement. I don't care about
about
none
none of that.
I'm with you. I mean, and that's the point that I was ultimately getting to. And I mean, of course, y'all brothers know. Y'all brothers know. So we ain't we ain't mincing words here. We're gonna be real about it. And that's the problem. The thing that I noticed about both of these videos, my thing was once they got the man in the car, there was no need to drag him back out the car. Just
I
close
mean,
the
yeah, but see, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. The reason why I think I'm not one of these guys that be like, "Oh, it's fake," and, this is not real. It's it's a few
Mhm.
people saying stuff like that. But what I will say is that I believe that they're playing narratives to get a reaction out of people emotionally, whether it is real or not. And so the thing is that um this ain't nothing but conditioning. As bad as it is that that brother died the way that he did, they're trying to condition the way that we think and the way that we feel and how we react to certain things. And because the thing is, you asked a great question, and I'm saying that to say that you asked a great question about the level of training and the state that it was in. Because like Shema was saying, it to be honest with you, before you even get put in the game, you supposed to already have certain basics down pat. So it don't really make sense that a question like that even exists because like who takes some who takes a scientist with no degree who's self-proclaimed and then give him and put him and have him do all these experiments like nah
Speak on it.
you gotta be qualified for that, you gotta have a
Speak on
degree
it.
on that, you know what I'm saying? You can't just so
That's
so I
right.
so I think what's going on is that they're
Shaul.
purposefully taking yes
No, no,
sir
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your wisdom. I'm sorry, but I got a
yeah I
question
think
behind what you're saying. I got a question.
I think they're purposely taking entry level quote unquote cops or whatever who have not the experience and they're playing their inexperience in neighborhoods where they should have experience and they're creating a narrative for people to having a reaction off of it because the thing is no it don't matter what this dude could have been a child molester whatever. It didn't matter. As soon as you seen this man go slump and he was dead on camera the way my man's did him, it didn't matter who this guy was 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before. People were going to jump up out their seat like, what's going on? And start tearing everything up. And that's what they want. That's what they want to happen. And I understand that some of these things is it look weird, some of the part of the story don't make sense. I mean, a lot of the stories don't make sense, like the one black brother that got killed that was that lived in the I think this is a few weeks ago as well, that was living in at a decent neighborhood. He was a matter of fact, he was a football player that I think that he was like a star football player in high school, and I think he was going to college or whatever, and he got jumped by some white dudes that wasn't even cops, and they killed him.
Yeah.
So so at the end of the day, it really don't be mattering. You know what I'm saying? Like It don't matter who it is or what the person is or what they did before that. Like when you see something like that, man, most people is gonna jump up and start causing a ruckus off rip. And I believe the main reason for them creating these narratives the way that they do, whether they're true stories or not, is to see how much control they actually have emotionally over the people.
Right. So good stuff, man. I was gonna ask a question, but I'm not gonna do it. Go ahead, Chief.
Oh, no. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
What I was going to ask a question, but I decided not to because I'm feeding off of y'all responses, but I want to kind of try to stay on course. You know, Yeshayahu, he's the general when it comes to certain things. So we gotta keep keeping us on course, man. So I had to put my glasses on because I'm on this desktop on my phone, so small. So hold on, y'all. We gonna ask this question, and then Chief, I'm gonna let you take the floor on the question, man. Hold on. So we got the question is police brutality a new thing, or or why are we now speaking up? These are excellent questions, by the way. Have we gotten to a point where change is needed and demanded? That's a question. I can't wait till I speak my mind. Go ahead, Chief. I'm gonna let you go first.
You know, the idea that for us to even question whether this is a new thing,
man,
you know, these concepts of, hey, is this? It's like you know, I guess some people, and maybe perhaps a lot of Euro Gentiles, they live on the rocks, so they, you know, when you bring this to their attention, they're like, what are you talking about? It's 2020. Racism is no longer. That's of the 60s, and you're like, what? So, you know, but the one thing that I know, no matter what we discuss, you know, we always talk about the importance, from a negative and from a positive standpoint, the importance of culture. We are in a culture. We have a culture that is centuries old, in which the value of Black life, and I'm not supporting Black Lives Matter here, but the importance of Black life is of no consequence. There is no such thing as a valuable Black life. And we don't have to go all the way back to slavery in order to illustrate that. We can just talk about from the last 100+ years and show that there's never been a point in the history of this country in which Black people, forget about equality, where Black people were actually considered 4/5 of a human. We don't have this. You don't even have to make us a whole human. But you started off with 3/5. At least bump us up to 4/5 to make us believe that you're being, you know, that you have a righteous mentality. That, hey, you know, maybe things are changing. Nothing has changed. The only thing has changed is the methodology in which these things are occurring. I haven't seen. I mean, listen. All of us are historians. All of us have gone into the history of our people in this country, and not just our people, just in how people generally are treated and are able to move to and fro in this country. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is is obviously the methodology and also the availability of independent sources. Because remember, 30, 40 years ago, people didn't have cell phones where they can just say, hey, what the hell's going on? Let me go film this right now. You didn't have this. So you had to depend on, well, if you're in New York, you had to depend on WPIX or Channel 9. You had to depend on these sources to tell you what's happening or whatever. So a lot of this stuff wasn't out there. Listen, there were hundreds, thousands of Emmett Tills happening every single day. Every day. It just so happened that in this particular case, somebody was able to film portions of the Emmett Till case. And that's why most people even know about Emmett Till. Otherwise, it would have been a local situation that happened where he lived, in that town, in that county. People in other parts of the country probably would never even heard of Emmett Till, but somebody happened to film it. Now it's all over the place. Everybody has one of these.
Yep.
Everybody has this. So they're able to press record and have it all over the place. That's the only thing that's changed. But the essence of the destructive nature of these people in this society, none of that has changed. They may have altered their methodology. They may have figured out new and creative ways to justify the evil, but it's the it's the same. It's as Mos Def would say, same song, just remixed, different arrangement.
I got something to add real quick before we go on to the next, and we allow Yeshayahu and Shahu to speak their wisdom. I want to say something because we're the types, Rosh Zebulon Chief Zeb, Yeshayahu, Shaul. We the types that are going to hit every variable. We the types that's going to hit every avenue. So I want to hit what I know people are going to say, especially if we have people of different ethnicities. If they watch this, it's nothing against you all. We're just talking about the facts. So they're going to say something along the lines of, what about black on black crime? And I'm going to start off by being the one to start off and give you the question real quick. He said something about we're all historians. And when he say we all historians, he's talking about the ones that you're looking at right now. And I say that humbly because I'm nowhere near Chief Zeb when it comes to history. So I'm kind of honored for him to even say that. But I'm going to give y'all something about a little bit of history. When you talk about black on black crimes, let's go modern with it. You want to know one of my favorite TV shows a few years ago? Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy. With the bike.
I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that show.
It was a cool show when I used to watch stuff like that, but it was like more so it's a bike clubs. You know what I'm saying? White people. It's all white people on that show, basically. There's some Hispanics too, I believe. One black person, I think. But my point in bringing that out is this. When you talk about black on black crime, white on white crime, Mexican on Mexican crime, Arab on Arab crime, whatever it's tribe wars. Sons of Anarchy, you saw that they had different tribes, quote unquote, different clubs, and they had rivalry with each other. Okay, when you look at history, you see that across the board, with going as far back as you want to say, with the same type of people having a rivalry with one another. But when it came to people outside of them, they came together in some sense. And they fought those people. History. You don't believe me? Look into it. So stop with the black on black crime. Because it's white on white crime, Asian on Asian crime, anybody on anybody crime, okay? It's a tribal thing. But when it comes to outside people that's murdering your people in senseless murders, that is when you get people that jump up like this. Because I've seen some memes as far as the thing is, you don't know what goes on in the community that you're speaking of. It is people that stand up and they fight for these things that you all are talking about. But you're using this black on black crime and things like that to kind of detour the topic or the subject at hand. It's not working. Not with the Masada Watchmen. And with that, I yield on that. We can go into the next one if y'all have anything to say. I'm gonna go into the next one after.
But even when people use that, they say, what about black on black crime? What you do see, you see a lot of black people who are being angled with that platform. They'll usually back down out of it. They'll say, well, and because they don't know how to deal with it because on the surface, you argue against it. What I do is I say, you know what? You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Black and black crime is a damn abomination. Absolutely. No question. Now that we've gotten that out the way, let's get back to the police. Right. I'm not gonna let you sidestep the situation and have, you know what I'm saying, and try to throw me this way. I'm not into straw man arguments. Like, no, you're not going to take this, you know, black on black. Listen, you go into an Italian, and you go into Italian community, just like you were bringing out, More. You go to an Italian community, you can be assured that 90 to 95% of crime that occurs in Italian neighborhoods is by other Italians.
Come on now.
Because Italians, for the most part, and Yeshayahu, you know this, you know how it is like in Brooklyn, when you go to Bensonhurst and these other places, black people are not coming in those areas. They don't want no parts of those certain areas. So when you see police pull up into these Italian places, these Italian neighborhoods, is because Italians are having criminal activities on other Italians. You go into Chinatown in Manhattan, it's the same thing. When something is going down in Chinatown, you don't see black people down there or other people. You're like, I don't know nothing about that. These is Chinese and Chinese going to war with each other. So no matter where you go, like you said, More, there's going to be black on black crime. There's going to be Chinese on Chinese. There's going to be all of these different, you know, ethnic groups that are going to, you know, have these things happening. But we're not talking about ethnic groups. We're talking about police. We're talking about an actual institution of police who are coming into communities, into specific communities.
That's right.
Saying, okay, we're going to kill you.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, you know, oh, well, wait. So, because now, what we're basically saying is, well, if black people kill other black people, then there's no reason for me to be the odd man out. I might as well come in and kill you too.
Exactly.
But I sidestepped that whole argument of like, oh, no, we're not going to play that game. No, you're absolutely right. Black on black crime, yes, our people should be ashamed of themselves. Absolutely, because we are way better than that. We are not barbarians.
Right.
We're not. So absolutely, that is a shame. Nobody, no sane, righteous black man can actually justify black on black crime. So I'm not even going to try to do that. So we're not going to justify it. But now that we've clarified that matter, now that that's out the way, let's get back to the pigs. Let's get back to the frying bacon.
You know, I had to throw that in there, Chief. You know, I had to throw that in there, Rose, because, like, you know, people are gonna say that, especially if I want to with us. I want to make sure with these four brothers on this platform. You know, I want to make sure if I don't hit certain points that I should, one of y'all got my back. Let's tackle any direction people could go, because we're very objective thinkers and presenters. Like Yeshayahu, he just literally, knowing that he didn't want to take the advocate position, but he did it because he wanted to sit up here and make sure he hit every point you can probably possibly throw. You know, so with that said, before we go forward, Yeshayahu, Preshaul, do you have anything to say before I go to this next portion?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, y'all both laid that out very well and eloquent, I may add. So it's not really much to hit on. But what I will say is, you know, it's already been stated, so I'll make it quick. When those other conversations, that's nothing more than redirection. You know what I mean? Hey, well, y'all are doing it too. And it's like, yeah, but is that the issue that we are focused on at hand? It's kind of like the Black Lives Matter chant and then somebody saying all lives matter. Like, yeah, we know that, but the issue ain't with all lives right now. The issue right now was with you know, the disproportionate of equality that is expressed towards this one group of people. So let's go ahead and focus on that. Then after we get that dealt with, we can go back and focus on how all the lives matter. You know what I mean? Nor are we saying, you know, are we taking away as saying that, hey, you know, we have a whole bunch of issues within our own communities that, you know, I have my own ideas on how to fix some of those things and how to rework some of that stuff. I mean, this ain't the show. We'll probably hit that later on, or maybe we can do a whole nother show on that. self-governing and those type of things. But I ain't gonna go too deep into that. What I will say is, yeah, we have those issues. Those issues are prevalent, and we're not going to deny it. But at the same time, those aren't the issues we're dealing with right now. And it's funny because I had a conversation with a older friend, and they were like, why are we? And I mean, I guess this is going to go into like the whole rioting thing, and I don't want to push the show past, but the conversation was,
hey, do what you gotta do, Aki. Come on, let's go. Let it flow.
The conversation was, I bet. The conversation was, why are we complaining to a people who really don't care and never showed that they cared in the first place? Why are we crying? You know what I mean? Instead of ponying up and doing what we got to do. Which, I mean, I guess that kind of goes right into the next floor of things. And I don't want to take the reins from the host. But the next question is, about rioting and protesting and its importance and whatnot. And
go ahead and read the question. Go ahead and read the question.
All right. So let's see. Hold on. Oh, did I lose the question? I lost.
So you doing that? What you about to say? It sounded like you was about to say something.
Hold on.
Go ahead. He wasn't, I guess.
Oh, okay. So topic. Oh man, wow. I lost it.
I got you if you need the help.
Yeah, go ahead, man, because I done lost it. See, I done took the reins out your hand and dropped the ball. I apologize.
You all good, man. So, okay. So I'm big on Hebrew for those that's
Hey man, what's going on with your voice, man? Your voice.
Your mic just got real different just now.
All right, hold on, man. I have my air on, man. So it might be the fan. Hey, I'm in my room, man. I'm in my living room.
What I will say is while we working through these technical difficulties, I'm glad we can have such a mature and serious conversation, but yet still allow our personalities to kind of flow through this thing without being so emotionally caught up that we forget the objective or the meaning to what we're trying to do here. You know what I mean?
So we gotta let the people fill us out. We gotta let them know our personality as well. We're serious, all of us. I mean, you talking about a historian over there, you know what I'm saying, a sage, soon to be in the next few decades. He's an awesome historian, awesome more prince chief. You know what I'm saying? You got Shaw who's intellectually no bounds. Like, I've talked to this man and I'm like, where did you learn this from? You know what I'm saying? I gotta try to keep up. You know what I'm saying? You got Yeshayahu, who's real good when it comes to the youth, real good when it comes to psychology. So we all can be serious, but we gotta show them our personality. You know what I'm saying? And I'm down for that. We goofy, we goofy. You're lucky we ain't came and Yeshayahu today, because we be coming at Yeshayahu. But we ain't gonna do that.
Little behind the scenes.
But let's go ahead, man. Let's get it going. Let's get it moving. The word of the day for me, is, and I guess it's a good word. We got Chief Zemlon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I speak it as this community. You got
you gotta straighten out your mic, because you sound like a tin, like you're speaking into a tin can, very thin.
Can you hear me now?
That ain't better.
I can hear you, but you're not.
Okay, what about now? No?
It's the same, brother. It's the same.
All right, so go ahead and I guess I'll go out and come back in. Maybe that can help.
All right, so I'll go ahead. My battery is about to die. I'll go ahead and I'll read the question, right?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Okay, and that's going to allow Shema to come in with his words and profound understanding of the Hebrew language. But the question that we're going to get into, definitely dealing with the protesting and the rioting, is something really, really simple. And we've been talking about organization and being peaceful, and what's going on out here, especially with these situations. And we see the community and how this situation and others like it has built up and has riled people's spirits up. So the question is, which is better? What is needed? Protesting and rioting. You know what I mean? So to simply put, is it better to protest or is it better to riot? Are they two sides of the same coin? How are we looking at it? So anybody want to go ahead and delve in on that first?
Before y'all go, can y'all hear me?
Oh, you good?
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, if anybody wants to go, I'll go, but I'd rather.
Okay. So I'm gonna be real quick and simple. And this ain't what everybody want to hear, And y'all know we talked about this a little bit on the outskirts. I even had some scriptures that I had posted on the matter. I'm not going to go that deep tonight, but I'm gonna be real simple. We come from a platform where we say that we understand that the people of the book is us.
Okay.
And we understand that we've been put in these situations due to our negative behavior and not obeying the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Whether we call him the Most High God, the Most High Yah, we ain't obeying. And I was just talking to my cousin earlier about the importance of obedience and turning back to these laws. And we look at these riots and all of this negativity that's going on, and like I said, that conversation I had with somebody asked, why are we crying to a people who don't care, or why are we crying to a people that ain't going to change nothing? Now, and I understand protest, activism, even rioting to a degree has its platform, has its need, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest. Until we get right, whether it's morally, spiritually, turn to the laws, get back to where we were supposed to be, ain't nothing gonna get better. And it's gonna keep becoming increasingly worse. And now that I said that and got that out my system, I would say I'm gonna say rioting and protesting has equal footing. It ain't the solution. But what it does is provide awareness. So which is better? I don't think either one is better. I think they both are two sides of the same coin. I think in order to present awareness, sometimes both can be used. I don't think looting in any sense is good, because I follow thou shalt not steal. But outside of that, it all has its importance. And the thing is, when sometimes you got to punch somebody in the mouth to let them know where you stand, not to be violent. It's more so a metaphor, but and that's what it is. And I yield on there and come back around after everybody else speak.
I want to go ahead and go, man. I want to go ahead and go. Okay. Those that know me might not know I'm a good
Well,
can y'all hear me?
I'm gonna say this thing.
Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Y'all can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this about
Wait.
the rioting.
He can't hear us.
I don't think
Shaul.
he can hear us.
Somebody tell Shaul that I've been speaking.
Shema or me?
Yeah, I'm talking. He can't hear me.
Shaul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can hear you. I can hear you, bro. I can't hear nobody else.
You talking right over Shema.
Oh, I can't hear Shema at all. I cannot hear Shema at all.
Wow.
You hear me?
Can
It
you
was
hear
just
Chief?
straight quiet. Yeah, I can hear you and Chief, but I can't hear Shemai.
All right. Well, look, this is what we're gonna do. Tell them when I'm done talking, y'all. Let me
All right.
finish this off.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you and
He,
Chief.
he can
All
hear
right.
you too.
Put my finger up when you get to go, cause until we get this audio thing situated.
I
Okay.
hope everybody else can, but if y'all can hear me, when they say it, they should be able to hear. Okay, I'm gonna be quick. I wish he can hear me though.
Huh?
Yeah, you're loud and clear, Haki.
Okay, cool. I'll be real quick. Um, I believe that the protesting. Okay, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't care about none of that. Okay, like what he and please tell him I said that when I'm done speaking. I believe it has his points. You know, it's a time and place for these things. The reason I say I don't care about none of that is this, because I believe majority of people that's protesting is not going to remain in what they want us to. They are doing it for different reasons than what we all, uh, the ones that's on this line, we desire. These same people are going to. I know we're gonna speak on it, so maybe I should hold fast. I'm gonna hold fast. I'm gonna stay on course because you know I'm gonna talk about the Juneteenth and July 4th. So I'm not gonna go into that right now. I believe that protesting is cool. Okay, I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna say I don't care about none of that, but I'm gonna be, the advocate. And I believe rioting has its place as long as you're not destroying your own people's stuff. Like, how you gonna riot and destroy your own people's mom and pop's businesses? That is stupid. And it becomes looting. You're looting, you're stealing from them. Your grandmother can't get her freaking. And watch this, even not the moms and pops. If you don't have a solution after you
Why is it
destroy
so
wall,
silent, man? Because I can't hear nothing.
tell them I'm almost done. I'm sorry. Somebody, can y'all tell them I'm almost done? Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
put my
Shemai said he's
I'm gonna put my video so he can hear, so he can see I'm moving my lips. Okay,
I can't hear this man.
almost done. All right, so yeah. So even if it's not the moms and pops, and you destroying your Walgreens and all this stuff going on, people are saying no, they should burn it down. But I got family members that cannot even get their medicine because they done destroyed everything in Chicago on certain blocks. Then they want to try to go to the Mexican neighborhood to get this stuff. Now the Mexicans done killed some of our people because they protecting and thinking you about to come loot. So they're not thinking. They didn't think this out before they did it. If you thought it out and then did it, and then do it, okay, cool. But you're not thinking about it. That's why I'm like Shaul when he said, I don't care about none of that. I want to read something and I'm done. I want to read something. Jeremiah chapter 29. I believe that this should be the foundational thing that we should do. There you go. He's going out. He's going to come back in. He should be able to hear us then. This should be a foundation. I run to this scripture all the time. If you're not a believer in the Bible, at least you're going to be, or you should be, a believer in this concept. Okay? I'm about to read it right now. So you got Jeremiah chapter 29, and you have verse 4. Okay? Thus saith Yohewah, the Elohim or the El of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives. Okay, some people say we're in captivity right now. Okay, if you think you're in captivity, you should be following what this says. Whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Some people call United States spiritual Babylon. Okay, build ye houses. Anybody doing that? And dwell in them and plant gardens. Is anybody doing anything with agriculture? If you would have looked at a lot of my posts on Facebook, I said the people that control your food and your money will always have the upper hand on you, and you're going to end up going right back to them at the end of the day if you do not start doing that. It says, and eat the fruit of them. Of what? Of the gardens you planted. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. Watch this. And seek the peace of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto Yah for it, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. Now, hold on, let's speak on that real quick, because I ain't gonna go no further. Some people will say, oh, well, Shamar, you talking about, Moraz Shamar, you talking about, I'm gonna pray for this while this stuff is going on? No, if you followed the first things that it spoke on, get some land, separate yourself. This corona stuff that's happening. If you had your own food and all these things in place, a lot of this panicking wouldn't be happening. If you trained the children up and the women up as how they should be, trained them on how their integrity, their honor, their good character, things like that, they wouldn't be put in we wouldn't be put in situations that we're in now. A lot of these circumstances that we see with our people is because of how we react and how we act. George Floyd was an exception to the rule for a lot of us so-called black men and women. I'm going to be serious and I'm going to be truthful. Now, are we dying wrongfully? Yes, but sometimes in the way that we operate is no, I would say this. That's not a reason to get killed, by the way. But if you operate in wisdom, you would know how to approach certain situations. Could you still die? Yeah. But a lot of us have died because of how we're operating. So when it says raise your children, give your daughters and your sons unto each other, and to raise them yourselves according to, it didn't say this, but I'm throwing it in there, the Torah, and have your land, have your separation, be separated in a sense. I believe firmly, and I'm done after I say this, a lot of these things that's happening wouldn't happen. Well, boy, Shema, what happened to Black Wall Street? It would be different today. I don't believe it would be the way it was in Black Wall Street days. I think a lot of things with social media and all this other stuff, it helps. It will put more pressure on these people in leadership. Well, not leadership. These people who's taking us, quote unquote, captive. It's a lot of pressure. They want to be real slick on certain things. So we could have Black Wall Street type communities. Learn from the Black Wall Street, but don't go and learn from the mistakes they did too. What do we know? And I'm done after I say this. What do we know? The people that are opposite of us, they don't like the flaunting. They don't like certain things. We shouldn't, try to withhold ourselves from that because of that factor. But, get some private communities going. Get some businesses going. Not all in front of everyone. Be discreet about certain things. We're a people that's very flashy and want to show people everything. And with that I yield, because there's so many more directions I can go with what I'm trying to present. But I wanted to bring that out as a factor, as a solution. But a lot of us are scared because just like we have been doing time and time again in history, even all the way back into Egyptian times. And we're not Egyptian, but I'm using that as an example as far as neighboring cultures. Even in the Torah time, when we wanted to go back to Egypt, even in our up to our time right now in our slavery, we wanted to go back to our master. We don't want to go forward. We don't want to build for ourselves collectively. We want to build for others, and we want them to be over everything that we do. That I probably went on a main, but that's it.
Hey man, I said I wasn't gonna go that deep, and then you plunged in. All praises, man. All praises. I gotta say, well, I think when we were talking about this behind the scenes, we had similar ideals and viewpoints. I was going to try to wait for the solution part when we actually talk about the solution to actually get into all of that. But you're absolutely right.
My bad.
Nah, you good, man. We flowing right now, man. We flowing. This is a beautiful show. I actually wanted to turn it right back over if Chief didn't have anything to say, and let you go ahead and get into the word of the day.
Okay.
Hey, I was just going to just briefly say about as far as the rioting and the
No,
no, that's all right. is it is it synonymous and whatever? I don't listen. Me personally, I don't have a problem with rioting, protesting, looting, any of that. As far as generally, like me personally, I have a different platform than the average. Let's say, like, and we know this from the average African American. Our sensibilities are a little bit different. So I come from a position of, well, those of our people who don't know any better, who don't know the platforms that we deal with, and they're only dealing from the framework of the African American urbanite mentality, then everything that they're doing makes perfect sense, because you're making decisions based on your knowledge base. This is all you know. All you know is, hey, I don't know anything. I just know that this is wrong, and I'm gonna figure out a way to get some get back. And if that means going to rob Walmart, then hey, I'm gonna get these TVs. I'm gonna go get this food. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, because that's all urbanites understand.
Yeah.
Now, we may not do those type of things because we have a very unique platform. We have a very unique position. So we don't take that position. But my issue with not really an issue, but my view of rioting and all of these different things, they make sense only if two things. If you believe that the people you're rioting against are going to solve your problem, and also it only applies if you have intentions on remaining in the land of your oppression. Then it makes perfect sense why you're rioting, because you're like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I live here. So yes, I'm trying to make something happen.
Wow.
If you have a if you have a mind state of, well, hey, I live here, but if give me a little bit of bread and I'm out, then it doesn't make sense to even riot, because you already understand there's no solving this problem. This society is a society of demonology. So you're trying to convert the devil. It's like back in the Nation of Islam days, when they asked you the question, you know what I'm saying, can the devil be reformed? And the answer is emphatically now cipher. You can't reform the devil.
Come on,
you see what I'm saying? You can't reform the devil, because that's what makes him the devil. He's a devil. So when people do devilish things and you're in a society that breeds that mentality, the only way that rioting makes sense is if you believe that they can be reformed. If you believe that the laws of this land will be reformed so that you can now enjoy freedom, justice, and equality here,
why you smile like that?
Then by all means, you know what I'm saying? By all means, burn it down, burn the cities down, do what you got to do. If you feel that what you're doing is going to lead to the desired outcome. Now, those of us who know better know that it's not going to lead to the desired outcome. What's going to happen is we're going to destroy these stores. We're going to loot. We're going to do what we got to do. And the government is still going to say, we're not changing nothing.
Yep.
It is what it is. And you know what? We're going to kill somebody tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the day after.
Yes, sir.
We're going to continue what we do. So again, that's why I think we, of course, as Hebrews, we have a very unique platform, because we understand why our people, Yaakov, not Yisrael, but we understand why Yaakov does the things that they do and why they think the way they think, because their knowledge base doesn't allow them to think outside of the rioting paradigm, because they believe that this is where they're going to live forever. This is their home. Yeah. But those of us who know that we are just sojourners here, that those of us who live by the Deuteronomy 30 code, that listen, I'm just sojourning here. I'm looking at the blessings and the curses. I know what's going down. So you know what? Hey,
Yeah.
I don't have to write it. I don't have to do anything because I already know what I have to do. We already spoke about that. Shema, you brought that out already. We know what we have to do.
Yeah.
We're clear on that. Because of our people, they're not clear. So based on that, it's like I get it. I know why they do. And so it's just like with Proverbs. We always talk about what Proverbs says. It says, "Despise not a thief if he steals to satisfy his soul." He's stealing because in his mind, this is the only way that he can go about to solve his problem. So his knowledge base is limited. Therefore, what he does is based on that limited knowledge. But that doesn't apply to us because again, we understand where we're at and what we have to do to get back. So that's kind of where I stand with the rioting versus, I'm no doubt you got to, if you want to do it, you want to tear down Target, hey, more power to you. If you believe it's going to solve the problem, then by all means do it. But those of us who know that it doesn't solve the problem and it only furthers the problem, and I'll concede that.
Excellent.
Wait, before we go though, he said something that was, man, hold on, man. I'm sorry. He said something that was, I don't think a lot of people in the community speaks on, and I'm gonna start using that, and that's why Ross Chief Zell is a Morehead man. I just want y'all to know that this man said those that are of Yaakov versus Israel or Israel. Did y'all, I mean, people that listen right now know the audience or the community that that understands our direction, our path and things. They'll catch that, but it's a difference with the Yaakov versus the Israel. Yes, you called that right. It's a totally different. I've never used that before, and I'm going to add that to my. I love it. Go ahead, though. What was I say, Yasiel?
No, I was just saying that was an excellent point that he made. You kind of touched on the other portion, because there is a separation there. And, we talked about it. And on other platforms, I've mentioned this plenty of times. And I'm going to leave it here because we're going to kind of circle back to this point. And it's the level of, I want to say, thinking things out or organization. You know what I mean? Because we're rioting, we're protesting, we're looting in some cases. But it's like, to what end? What's the resolve? What is that going to bring? And whatever that brings, are we ready for it? Because like right now, we're calling for, well, I hear people saying, hey, we need to self-govern ourselves. Well, how? What's your strategy? Oh, we need to go and protest. Well, protest to bring what? You know what I mean? Because like whenever I ask that question, okay, well, let's dive a little deeper. Because on the surface level, we got it. We protested. We rah. We police brutality is the way out, and we need to burn down these buildings. We doing all of that, but then after all of the dust settles, what comes next? Are we going to move into these small knit communities and say, hey, we're only going to deal with ourselves first? Are we going to create that next Black Wall Street? Are we going to do Black Wall Street 2.0? Not saying that, Black Wall Street was the only, or Tulsa, Oklahoma, not saying like that was the only standpoint of, Black civilization as far as us coming together and having our own businesses and everything else. But like, I mean, we now are able to reach levels and ears and people using all of these different platforms, these social medias and everything else.
Come on, man.
This even leads into another segue that we have later on with Chief. But we're looking at all of these different constructs of ways to reach people and talk and speak. But at the same point, are we using it to its effectiveness? Are we getting there to the point where we're saying, okay, well, we have a strategy? I even hear people talking about, let's get militant. Let's form militias and all these other things. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all. But what happens when we run out of bullets?
But look, I'm not against that. I just want to say that.
Hold on.
Likewise, I'm not what. But I know what. But I see what you're saying, though.
My thing is, there's no strategy behind it. So it's like, ooh, we have no distribution. I say this all the time. I will echo this too. I'll probably pass. We have no distribution of guns. We have no surplus of ammunition. We don't create ammunition. We don't make it. We get it from other resources. We are not the leader in anything as far as creating, right? Maybe some soaps and some butters, but outside of that, how are we gonna
bad, man.
army?
That was messed up, man.
Form an army without no training.
Now wait, I gotta jump in. Hey, we said we jumping in. I gotta jump in.
Go
ahead. One thing I want to say, I want to go in order. So Chief Zeb, Roselle, he actually did speak on when you said to what end. That's why he made a distinction between Yaakov and Yisrael. We're Yisrael. We got Yaakov. They're not thinking like we are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna stay on that. Now let's go to the militia part. Woo! I love that because I was just talking to somebody about when we get the land, we do all learn about agriculture, and we learn about this. It is people that know how to make weapons and people that know how to make ammunition. I have a cousin that actually does. It's people that know, and it's people within us that do. We just got to bring the people together. That's one. The militia part, we got SAR. That man is a monster.
I'm trying to get up with him too, man.
And it's people, and it's other people like him. I always put him in the class of my cousin. Y'all saw me post him about Andre White and SAR. They so similar. So it's a lot of us like that. He was just over here today talking to me about it. It's the only problem is this. It's always going to be a remnant. It's never, in my opinion, going to be a great mass of us that's doing what you're talking about. Because what you're saying is facts. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But then I want to put this out there too. I'm gonna need Chief on this. I can't think of it right now. I'm trying to think. I know a lot of people think about, the number game. How will we succeed? I want to say something. That video that we saw with the young brother that just died right now, 27-year-old. You saw how easy it was to toss them? He has no training, no fighting training from my knowledge. I was talking to my cousin today about this. Hopefully he'll check us out. I'm going to tell him I mentioned him. He was like, if we actually, and it goes back to what I was saying, we raised our men and our women with good character. A lot of people are not going to want to do this, but I'm going to say it. Good character, integrity, understanding the Torah, understanding want to be a part of the land and all that, but start training them off their natural instinct of protection or protecting themselves. That's what the buddy did. The 27-year-old that got killed, he was just tossing them, man. No training. That will put us in a position where numbers actually wouldn't matter. General said this. He said this, and I agree with him. As we can see with some of these cops, they're cops and they have no training on how to shoot. I know a cop by the name of Mike Brown. His name is Mike Brown, by the way. He's the one that got me and Andre White, my cousin. Because I could get concealed to carry. I just didn't go through with it. He got us in all this. He said he was a cop. He didn't say he was a cop. He was a cop, and a lot of cops don't train. That hence the reason of a lot of deaths, and they're scared and fear. They say because they're not training for this stuff. He said this as a cop. My point is, if we literally trained our community, men and women, I guess, I'm just gonna say men and women. Even our small numbers can defeat higher numbers, but that's not the whole gist of this. I believe that they wouldn't technically, and I'm done when I say this last part. When you think of Black Wall Street, if Chief Zeb could be better than me as far as this information, I don't know if they were equipped from a militia standpoint. I don't know if they was equipped from a militia standpoint. So you have the agriculture, you got the food, you have the land, you have the training, you have the militia, you have the men that actually guard the community and do this. I don't think the government is just going to come at us like that as long as we're not doing anything illegal too. They can and they do this. I understand that. But I think it's different today. I really do. I could be wrong. I just really do think it won't be like Black Wall Street. I just don't. And with that, I'm going to shut up.
Prince Shaw, you coming?
Oh, are you coming up? I think he might be having
dropped out.
His connection.
Yeah.
Man, I like how that went full circle, and
yeah, Shamal put that work in.
Y'all are both absolutely right. To my knowledge, no, they were not. As far as Black Wall Street, they were not fortified as far as any form of militarized action is concerned. So, I mean,
but they didn't believe that they had to be.
Exactly. Yes. Based off of
remember,
everything else.
Because at that time,
exactly,
they separated.
They were far separated, except for Well, I mean, we can talk about the Klan and everything else a little later, but see, that's when we start dealing with history and whatnot. Man, beautiful conversation, all in all.
I'm loving it. I'm loving this, man. Come on now.
But Shema, I want you to get to this word that you said earlier.
Okay, I got you. So the Hebrew word that I want to use today is kehilah. Kehilah, which is community. It could be used as congregation, but it's community for the gist. Chief Zeb, is it another way of saying it in a different dialect? Do you say it differently than I do, or do you say it like I said as well? Kehilah?
Yeah, likewise, but there's other terms that's used to explain the Amma, which also is like the Arabia, the Ummah. So you have the Amma for community. It's
So I wanted to use that Hebrew word because I think it goes into what my foundation, my ministry, more so is with the man and the woman being the pinnacle of the community. But community is the biggest thing. If we was a real community, I'm gonna say this and I'm done because I want to see what Yeshayahu was going with this. I don't know if I saw Yeshayahu, Chief Zeb, Saul, with their neck getting put on the ground. Now I'm not married yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a court actually Friday I'm gonna be in a guided courtship. Just want y'all to know that. But she already knows how I feel. Hallelujah. She knows how I feel about this part. I would die for y'all if that happened to you all. I don't want to die for no one. I want us to live. People say, man, would you die for me? No, I ain't gonna die for you. I want to figure out a way for us to live. Why do we say, would you die for me?
Hey, man, that's funny.
I'm serious. Would you die for me? No. I will figure out a way for us to live. You got a family to take care of. I got a family. You know what I'm saying? But community, a real community to me, when you think about tribes, we talked about tribes earlier. I'm glad you brought this out, Yeshayahu, and you forced me to do this. I don't think a real community would have allowed that, what took place with George Floyd. I do not believe, and this man is saying, dude, bro, he calling him bro on the video. Bro, get your knee off his neck. That ain't your brother. That is not your brother. With that, I yield. Kehilah, community. A real community is going to protect the community. But a community is going to have a foundation for integrity and good character is too. A community is going to train up everyone, man and woman and children.
Mhm.
will have to operate against the people. And with that, I yield.
Okay, I think we had a little bit of technical difficulties. Everything on my end just froze a little bit. But to your point, I definitely
Shazam, did you hear me when I was speaking?
I heard you, but then your voice went kind of tin can.
yeah, yeah.
Hey man, hey, this man been the
But
tin
but
can man
but
all
you were
night,
still
man.
audible. I can hear you.
Hmm. I mean, you
Okay.
got the point across. Shaul, you were going to say something. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
let
was gonna
you
say
go.
something earlier, man. But my connection was bad because I was on top of the mountain, but I'm actually on flat ground now, man, and I'm able to talk, more clear. But
Masada
I
Watchmen.
heard a
Go
lot
ahead,
of great
Shaul. I'm
points
gonna let
for the
you. I'm gonna let
last.
you run.
All right, I heard a lot of great points for the last 10, 15 minutes, man, and I didn't get a chance to say nothing, but just real quick, because I didn't get a chance to talk about the riots or whatnot, and I think that I heard Shemai's point. Well, I heard all three of you guys' points, but I think Shemai and what he brought out as far as the solution and what to do is what I agree with the most. Now, as far as like our people and the rioting and stuff like that and what they're doing, I don't really agree with that. At one point in time, I'm not gonna lie. At one point in time, I did, but once I started analyzing certain stuff, it really didn't make sense because for one, you're tearing up places where you shop and live at, which don't make sense because it's already a scarcity in this country anyway. Because without a coronavirus, because I drive trucks for a living, I mean this country is always 2 weeks away from a famine. You know what I'm saying? Because the products and the way they're shipped, it's only a couple of states, as well as Mexico, um, that provides the majority of the food that we consume. So when you go into your own community and destroy it like that, you're taking resources out of your own mouth, and it ain't really hurting nobody but us. Um, and you know the separation aspect and trying to establish a Black Wall Street again, I agree with, and I agree with Shemai when he was saying that it's not going to be the exact same way that it was then, as far as how they came against it. And let's keep it 100. It was many Black Wall Streets. Black Wall Street just became the famous because they was the one that got bombed. But at the end of the day, I think no matter how much things are tore down, we always supposed to keep rebuilding because I mean there's no other way to go but forward when you're going through traumatic experiences. And I just is what rioting and tearing up your own stuff symbolizes that you think on a low level and you're emotional. And and the biggest thing is that you're telling these people that you can be controlled by what they do, because it ain't nothing but subliminals anyway. Programming, conscious programming, and subconscious programming that they're giving to our people to see just how much control they have over us. And so I'm gonna yield on the rioting part, but as far as some of the other things we talk about, as far as community and how we can make things better for our people, is again, the separation is the biggest part. And yeah, it's a lot of people that's still in these neighborhoods and stuff that don't know no better. But I think with those who are conscious, like I'm gonna use Shama's point when he was talking about the when you are in a position of authority, then it's your responsibility to not only care for yourself but for those who don't have that same level of responsibility. And
Come on.
so with that being the case, what that mean what I the reason why I'm bringing that up is to say that those of our people who think on a low level, it's our jobs though, like for instance the example, the four of us speaking right now have a certain level of intelligence and a certain level of intellect that and movement and push that people who are on a lower level than us don't have. And I know people don't like to hear things like that, but let's just keep it 100. In life, everybody has different ranks and levels. Naturally, you got people who are just leaders, and everybody can't be that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a lot of people who are just not on that level. They're two-dimensional, and which means that they need to be controlled, but they need to be controlled by the right people, those who love them and those who are going to lead them the right way. You got shepherds and you got sheep, and everybody knows sheep don't make the best decisions. So therefore, they need a shepherd to make the decisions for them. And a lot of the times, when you a shepherd, you can't tell the sheep everything that you're doing because they're on such a low level that they don't understand that they actually need to be told what to do for them to make the right decision. And that's just how our people are in general. And at the end of the day, the solution, one of the main solutions to our people coming back, is that with those of us in this position with intellect have to understand is that in order for us to come up out of the situation, it's going to be a major sacrifice that's going to have to take place. It's going to be a lot of deaths. It's going to be a lot of pain, a lot of trials and tribulations that we're going to experience because of how low level thinking our people are, and we just have to be okay with that. But like Shema said, it's only a remnant, and it's always going to only be a remnant, and we have to understand it's only going to be a remnant, and it's our responsibility for us to lay the ground rules and the rule of thumb for those who don't think on a high level to fall in line, and if they don't, they have to perish because that's the only way we're going to be able to get out of the situation. We can't save everybody, and everybody can't come. And it's as sad as that sound, that's just the reality of the situation. It's just too many people, you know what I'm saying? It's too many people in our, of our lineage that just will not adhere to any guidelines that's being set by those who actually have the mindset and the fortitude to put things in place. And the last thing I'm gonna say is I'm gonna give a scenario, or I'm gonna give a real life story that told me about the reality of our people, because he served in the military for many years, and he told me, he said he went to war 3 times, and he led 2 platoons into battle twice. And the first time they
Come on, man. Don't break up on us.
went
This is
into war.
stuff.
Can y'all hear me?
You breaking up, man. Can y'all
Can
hear
y'all
him?
hear, y'all can hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Am I breaking up?
No, you good
Breaking
now.
up?
You getting good now, so don't mess
I'm
up.
good. Okay. So yeah, so I'm gonna tell a story that my elder told me about, about when he was in the military, and
Elder
he
Morris,
went he went to he went to war 3 times. Yeah,
Morris,
Maurice Shalene. He went to war 3 times, and yeah, Maurice Shalene. He went to war 3 times, and he led 2 platoons into battle 2 times. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? The first time he went to war, he was telling me a story about his commander and his chief that was getting ready to lead them into battle. And he said that his commander in chief shed a tear as he explained to everybody there that, look, even though I'm the leader and even though I'm leading you into battle, all of you won't make it back, and I have to live with that.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we're but at the end of the day, the reason why all you guys are standing on this line is because there's a sacrifice that's needed, and the only way we're gonna come up out of this is if those of you that's standing here have the mindset and the fortitude to walk into this battle behind me, knowing that you may not come back. And that's just the reality of the situation, and it's the same type of scenario that we're in. It may not be necessarily a physical battle to the degree of a army or a war, but but this is a war in the sense that there's going to be a lot of casualties and a lot of death and a lot of pain, a lot of suffering and trials and tribulations because people just won't do right. They won't fall in line, and sometimes you got a lot of good people who do want to follow in line, that want to follow, but just will perish because that's just the reality of what happens when you go to war with people. But us four on this on this show have to understand that we're the ones that's going to, sort of speak, lead this platoon into battle, and we're not going to bring back everybody. Even some of us may even perish behind it, but it's a necessary sacrifice for the betterment of our people in the future, because the only thing that really matters is the children that we have, and making sure that, like Shema said, integrity, having a culture, making sure they're raised in Torah, making sure that they have a general rule of thumb that no matter where they are in the world, if they was to ever link up, there's some type of commonality that we all have that connects us, which is that culture, that's Torah. And I'm gonna yield with that right there.
I want to jump in. Let me know if you all can hear me. I do have a couple people tuning in right now, and they said, my mic was messing up. I don't know if it still is now, so please tell me. Um,
Now you loud and clear, Aki.
Yeah, you
okay,
good,
good,
you good, Aki.
good. You all making some great points, man, and I think that we're not realistic. I think that we are people that take situations and subjects or events. I'm trying to say, and try to attach it with everything. A lot of us don't do no real research on the people that we mention a lot. Your Marcus Garveys, your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther Kings. I'm just trying to use those as an example right now. Do we believe? Well, I know you three not going, believe this, but for those that's listening, do we believe, or do you believe that all the so-called black people was for Malcolm X? Was all the so-called black people, when I say for, I mean more so involved in what he was trying to do with the people? That goes into what I was saying and what forgive me. Goes into what Prince Shaul was bringing out as far as the remnant. It's only gonna be a remnant. I think I did a study or a reading on that recently. Actually, I'm gonna try to find it. Maybe hopefully we probably will do this group thing so we all can. We're gonna create a group so that we can have a revisit the conversations and the topics that we speak on, so that you all that might miss it or might want things to say. Once you listen on YouTube, you'll be able to comment on there and or the group so we can address certain things. But it wasn't this picture that we might have to make it a part two. It wasn't this picture that everybody paints with the Spike Lee Malcolm X or it wasn't this picture, man. He was just like, it was like, I say marketing. Malcolm X and them had to convince them to try to help the situation. Martin Luther King, all them. Yeah. So I'm basically saying this to say the things that we're speaking on now, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to be that Yaakov, that Rosh or Chief Zeb is speaking on versus the Yisrael, or what people will say Yasharallah. And that just means that those that are of Yisrael or Yasharallah are those that are fulfilling both aspects when it comes to the law, the spirit, the circumcision, whatever you want to call it. And the Yaakov are those that are more so not really aware of the culture, not really aware of what we could do to come together to fulfill what the Most High has for us to fulfill. And if you're not a believer of the Bible, how about this? To fulfill what you think you desire. You think you want to come together and get all these be over what we need as a people and all that stuff. That stuff all sounds good, but when it comes down to it, the things that these three gentlemen are saying, if you really be serious with your own mind, be serious with your own walk and your journey, you're not really for that. This is me speaking right now. And I'm not coming at you. I'm not attacking. Ask yourself, how many of you are willing to go on the land, with a group of people that say they have like-minded, like they're like-minded like you? How many of you are willing to grow food and feed yourselves? We have been so conditioned. And the reason I can say this with all, and I'm done when I'm saying this. The reason I can say this with a surety and fact is because history does not lie. It repeats itself. And for those that are used to a certain way of living from birth, And then their grandmothers, their grandfathers, their forefathers, and their foremothers are so used to being taken care of by a system. It's going to be very hard to remove them from that and to present something that's going to be well better off for them and their future generations. And with that, I yield. Um, let's go ahead and go into a few other things. I know he said something about part two, and I agree. I agree. But I want to. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes right now. Let's do this one more thing, one more topic. One more topic, if y'all okay with that. Not really topic. We can actually fast forward. Let's do two things real quick and we're done. We can save the jump. Ooh, I don't know if we should save the Juneteenth, man. Juneteenth coming up Friday.
We could. It cannot. Maurice Shema, you mind if I say something? Two things. Your mic is doing that weird thing again, and secondly, if you don't mind, I think we should definitely hit the Juneteenth tonight, and we can Juneteenth our way round back into solutions. If y'all don't mind.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh my goodness! I got to get on my computer.
There you go. There you go. You're back.
Okay. I'm down for that. I'm down. I'm gonna let you take over because I don't want her to keep messing up. So go ahead, take over, and I'll chime in when I need to.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm wearing the host hat. I just put my host hat on. This invisible. I'm not good in these parts, but here we go. So yeah, everything you just said, man, was absolutely, right on time. And that's the separation, and I get what you're saying between the Yisrael and the Yaakov are will doers and people who are just in it for the moment. You know what I mean? And that kind of even pushes us into, not only Juneteenth, but Chief, I believe you are up next, man. Fishbowl Follies.
I wanted him to hit that, and I wanted Saul to. I ain't gonna hold you. I wanted to hear what he was gonna say tonight, man. I wanted him to hear what he was gonna say.
Yeah, I think, man. Well, we might as well just keep it rolling then.
Can we do those three? Can we do
get them all in? I feel as though we can get them all in. I was just
Hey, if my man's divine prospect, Ron Shields, can go for 4 hours and people can tune in, they can listen for at least 2 hours and 30 minutes for us. Shout out to Ron Shields. But I want to hear the fishbowl follies that the chief got, my more roast. And then I want to hear I Ain't Gonna Hold You by Saul. And then I want to go ahead and go. Then I want to go ahead and go into the Juneteenth, and we're done for the night. Let's do that. Those three, and we out.
All right. So, cool. Do you want to hit? You want to get Shaul's I Ain't Gonna Hold You in now?
Well, the order was a fishbowl, but we can go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We can go that way.
Okay.
The Saul. Okay, hold on real quick. Before we do these things, I want both of you to explain to people what the fishbowl follies is, and the I Ain't Gonna Hold You before y'all go ahead and do it to the subject.
Oh, and also, if I can add, just for the viewer, because the viewers probably wondering what the heck y'all talking about. So, throughout this show, particular, we kind of just throw them in there. But what we want to do is have staples, are things that we kind of touch on, and they might change with the topic of the show or the topics of the show, but those are main staples. So we have a word of the day, or we have I Ain't Gonna Hold You, and we have Fishbowl Follies, which are about to get kind of explained right now. But these are things that you're going to see appear reoccurringly or episodic on the show often to give y'all something to look forward to. But
This man,
That was real smooth, Doc.
Hey, your voice
man
need to
got
be
his
on.
sexy Ray Ray voice on.
Oh man, boy, just went Keith Sweat on it, man.
Hey man, what is you doing, man? What is this? Sex radio, man? What is this, man?
All right, man. Let's go ahead.
Oh, man.
Who going first? I Ain't Gonna Hold You or Fishbowl Follies?
Chief can take him on. Take him on in there, man. Take him on in there.
Oh, okay, Chief, you ready for Fishbowl Follies?
Yeah, why not?
All right, Chief, you got the floor, man. Now, it's funny we didn't do none of these for none of the other segments. They just kind of got rolled in there. But go ahead, Chief. Let them know what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Fishbowl Follies is a term that I kind of coined over the past few months. Can't say a few months, maybe over the past year or so, where Fishbowl Follies is just another way of saying Facebook. Fishbowl Folly, Fishbowl Facebook. And the reason why I say fishbowl is because much of what you see that's happening on Facebook and other social media platforms, but really Facebook, much of what you see is the experience of people from a very narrow standpoint. These are usually platforms and opinions that you see on social media that are coming from people who have not traveled a lot. And I don't mean physically to other places. They haven't traveled much. They don't have a history of going beyond the confines of their comfort zone in order to understand things from different points of view. And that's why the fishbowl is used, because the problem with goldfish, when you see goldfish inside a fishbowl, is that they swim around in circles, and they think they're the only fish around swimming.
Okay.
They don't see anything else, so they can only see what's inside the bowl, but they don't realize that there's other fish bowls elsewhere. There's other ponds, there's other oceans, there's other lakes and streams and whatnot. But in their head, they're the only ones who have tails, and they're the only ones who can swim. So, and they're usually going around in circles. And so when I say Fishbowl Follies, I say it literally because it's in the fishbowl, so to speak, but it's also folly, because when you operate from a fishbowl mentality, you can only bring forth folly because you haven't been around long enough and been into other places in order to have a more rounded understanding or rounded perspective on things. And I don't mean long enough necessarily chronologically, like, whether you're 30 years old or 40 years old, but just from your experience. If you haven't experienced anything, then you can only speak on very limited things. And even the limited things that you can speak on, they're always going to come from a very slanted position. So, with that said, the fishbowl folly for today is dealing with George Floyd and rioting. My question is, well, if the murder of George Floyd is the root of the rioting that you see, in other words, if people, especially on Facebook, as you see this, people talk about it all the time, what they did to George Floyd is wrong. It's murder. So now we're going to go out and we're going to riot. We're going to buck, we're going to go buck wild and we're going to tear this down and tear that down. Okay, cool. The problem with that is George Floyd is only one of hundreds of other people that are being murdered by police. And so my question then becomes to the goldfish is, why is there not consistent rioting daily?
Right.
When Sandra Bland was murdered, I saw no rioting.
Mm-hmm.
When Eric Garner, no rioting.
Right.
What you see is people, it seems as if they're picking and choosing when they want to riot. And then the next thing that comes to mind is, well, if you're picking and choosing when and where you want to riot, then is it really the murders that you have an issue with? Or is it an opportunity? Is it more of an opportunity for you to do what you do during this particular, like, what is, like, why are we getting riled up over George Floyd that we did not get riled up over Sandra Bland?
Right.
What is it
Right.
about this particular murder that says, oh, you know what? That's it. I'm headed to Walmart to riot. Like, what is that? And so when you see people on social media pushing this, when they're pushing and pushing and pushing, I'm like, and I actually had a conversation with, I'm not gonna put the brother on blast, but I had a conversation with a brother on, well, from Facebook, but we were, but we spoke on the phone, and I said, listen, you have a position on your pro riot, like really hardcore. Okay, why are you not doing it in other murders of our people? Why? His response was, each situation is different. And that is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard, because what you're saying is Sandra Bland's life is not quite on the level of a George Floyd.
Right.
What is the distinction here? The problem, of course, is that when you operate in a fishbowl, you don't see anything else except what you're seeing in your circle. So we'll go and riot over George Floyd and ignore all of these other deaths, all of these other murders. They're just, oh yeah, that's bad, and we'll just put some Facebook posts up, and yeah, rest in peace Eric Garner, and rest in peace Trayvon, and rest in peace whatever the case may be. But then out of the blue, some brother who allegedly is passing around fake 20s, and he gets murdered in the street by the police. Something about that case has everyone up in arms. And I have not heard a single logical explanation from anybody to explain that. That, my friends, is folly.
Yeah.
In the fishbowl. Shalom.
Man. Man. Do it for the truth. I see. Man, that's crazy. So should I go ahead and do it, man?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Should I not hold the people, man?
No, man. I never understood where it came from, but I'm gonna just go. Hey, don't hold the people, man.
All right, man. So look, check this out, man. I ain't gonna hold you. What that actually mean is, when I say I ain't gonna hold you,
Which is funny because that's exactly what he's gonna do.
when I say I ain't gonna hold you, what that actually means is that I'm not gonna hold you back from getting what you need to get. You know what I'm saying? Which is that truth. You understand what I'm saying? And also, I ain't gonna hold you as a slang term for saying I ain't gonna lie. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm saying, if I ain't gonna lie to you, then that means I'm trying to give you the truth. So I ain't gonna hold you. So what I'm gonna say is this, man. I'm gonna connect my I ain't gonna hold you to Chief Zed, man, because he just made a great point here, man. Okay. Um, I'm just saying. Talking about fishbowl follies and whatnot. I mean, but look, let me tell you something. We need to stop being so gullible. I ain't gonna hold you. All right. We need to stop being so low level thinking, so low down and dirty, so emotional, so picking and choosing, so wishy washy. Man, I ain't gonna hold you on none of that. So I'm gonna say this right here when it comes to what Chief Zeb said about the fishbowl follies expanding your thinking and your horizon and your intellect to do, go beyond what you're used to, your comfort zone, which is a great point because, like he said, we didn't riot when Sandra Bland got killed, when Eric Gardner got killed. So it's like we pick and choose. So the question is this. Now I'm gonna go back to the phrase. This is what I say. Do it for the truth. I ain't gonna hold you. And this is what I mean by that. If what Chief Zeb is saying is on point, which it actually is, if Chief Zeb, if what he's saying is on point, and that there are certain times where we're picking and choosing where we want to knuckle up and try to go out there and do something, then the question is this: who is actually starting these group think tanks and these conformity who's starting these conformity groups, and who's going out here, and matter of fact, who's filming a lot of these things that's taking place? It's like just so happen to just a stranger somewhere just filming somebody getting killed. And then on top of that, who are the people who are speaking on the behalf of our people, especially the black brothers, because we at the bottom. And so if we talking about what we represent is true, then the best thing we can do is not hold each other. And that's what I conclude, Shaul, do it for the truth. I ain't gonna hold you. Shalom.
Hey, let me know if y'all can hear me. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
I love how he continued to plug that term back and forth, like I ain't gonna hold you. Anyway,
yeah. The audience listening in, they gonna learn to get it, man. It's truth within. I love the fact that he brought out who's doing this, who's creating it. My cousin Eddie or Andra, whatever you want to call him, he brought out. It was a white dude that started one of these riots, but it was portrayed and it was black people that started. And the guy started sitting down, smoking a square. He started the riot with the police cars and everything, and then he just sat down, smoked the square while everybody else. Now, yeah. Now, I'm gonna be real. We was stupid for continuing it. That's we do that, man. Sometimes, but the man started the riot with the police cars, and he sat down and started smoking the square. They had this on camera. They took
smoking the square.
I promise you, they took him to jail too for that. But I just thought it was crazy. I ain't even gonna hold you. So, with that being said, man, it's 2:23, 2 hours and 23 minutes for this first segment, this first episode that we did. I think it was wonderful. I love the topics that we covered. I love the fluidity of the whole conversation. I just want you all to close out. Any final words? And then we're going to come back next Sunday with something else.
Hey.
Masada Watchmen. And then I'll close out after you.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go first. Get mine out the way. Y'all know I'm never long-winded.
Stop lying.
I will say this show, man, it is beautiful in a sense where, we not only get to sit back and kick it, but we get to talk about things that are important, not only to the community, to us. I see this show as a good way to talk about not only Hebraic culture, Israelite culture, but world culture, what's going on around this world.
That's right.
And bring it forth. It's a good way for us to goof off. It's a good way for us to listen and introduce new music to people. It's a good way to explore Black culture. It's a good way to just, get down and be in with us. So I'm all for it. Just real quick, as far as a solution, and maybe we can have another show where we go into how to operate and implement these solutions. Would be, I'm all for self-governing. I'm all for smaller communities. I'm all for getting back to the land. I'm all for building. You know what I mean? I think when we put our hands into each one of those pots and we remove or begin to chip away at self-hatred, then we become able to strategize and interweave these things into a nice fabric of a liberation, dare I say. Of course, the main thing for me that I see that holding is, coming back to the Most High. And if that ain't your bag, then so be it. But I think as a culture, we need to find whatever those core values are to say this is what we agree or disagree to do as far as interaction with each other. The way we treat outsiders, I mean, hey, that's up for discussion, but we should have a line or a code. I can't say the word now. We can't. We have to have a form of code on how to interact with each other. And I think once we build that, then everything else can go into place.
Agreed.
I think the Most High is definite. For those who don't, then I mean, hey, you go ahead and say, well, morally, I won't do this to you, or morally, I will stop doing this to you. I want to plug a song that Kendrick Lamar did. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but it's called The Mortal Man. Everybody check that song out. You're speaking some realness in there. But it's all about the way we see each other and how we view each other and what we're going to decide not to do to each other. And that's going to touch that so-called, black on black crime or I guess you can say chipping away at the crime rates that we see in the so-called cities. I said I wasn't going to be long-winded, so I'm going to yield it there and say, man, it was beautiful chopping it up with y'all brothers, the family outside. As we get better with this thing, you're going to start seeing more segments come in. We might even have sound effects coming up soon, y'all. So stay tuned, stay with us. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll pass it on.
Okay.
Gang. Chief Zed, what's your thoughts?
Hey, final thoughts. I think can't really offer too much of a solution because obviously since there's going to be a part 2 to this, it would probably make more sense to address those issues when we finish venting on the problems. But what I will say though is that there's a quote from one of the most at least in my estimation, one of the most powerful Hebrew Israelite teachers that we've ever known. He's not, his praises are not sung enough. I think he's done so much for our people, and it goes generally unnoticed in the States. But the late great Ben Ami Ben Israel.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Chief. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
You took my closing. You took my closing. Not what you gonna say. I was gonna bring up Ben Ami, man, but I love it. That's how. See, you my moral. Hey, go ahead, man.
But we're probably not gonna touch the same matters. Right. So
yeah.
But what I will say this though is that he said it was one of his lectures. I have the lecture. He said that that when as far as the problems that you see amongst African Americans and things that's going on in the inner cities, he was like you have to understand until the African American has identified his issues with the Most High, you will never get out of this captivity.
Okay.
And he stated it emphatically.
Yeah.
That, and and I thought of when I remember I first heard it at the time. This was like maybe 2005 or whatever. When I first heard the lecture, and it was like, yo, that's exactly what what we talk about with Deuteronomy 30. That until you fix your relationship with the Most High, everything else that you do, just like we read about in the book of Haggai, everything that you do, the Most High is going to frustrate it. He's going to cause it to fail because you're trying to get into the kingdom through the back door, and it doesn't work that way. You're trying to get into it the way you want to get into it, and he's like, "No, you're going to do it the way I instructed you to get through it." So we'll riot and we'll protest and all of that stuff forever, and it's all good, no doubt. Listen, you get your little flat screens, get your little HD TV or whatever from Walmart and whatever else you want to loot. That's all good here, but it'll never solve the problem. The problem solves when we solve our problems. Most of the issues that we have, they're internal. We know what the external devil is. It's clear. That devil is clear. We don't have to bust our heads over it. But what's not clear is the part that we play in the constant perpetuation of the devilishment. And until we get ourselves right, the outside devil will continue to be a stumbling block. Just like he didn't exist when we were in the land and we were upright and doing what we were supposed to be doing, he was nowhere to be found. The Romans were nowhere to be found. And as soon as we decided that we were going to go through the back door again, y'all said, okay, hold that. And continue to hold that until you figure this out. And when you figure it out, then I'll remove them from you. I'll remove them from your presence. But until then, I'm going to frustrate all of your deeds. Everything that you attempt to do, every time you put money in your pocket, it's going to be like holes in your pocket. It's going to fall right on out. I will continue to frustrate your efforts until you understand that the Most High is the original. He's the original Frank Sinatra in the sense that you do it his way. Do it my way.
Right.
That's all I have to say.
Hallelujah. Shaul.
Hey man, I think it's look. I really can't say enough, man. I think
Can you hear you, Aki?
needed. Can y'all hear
No,
me?
I can hear him. We can hear him.
And I
You
was
can hear
saying,
him.
man, I can't say enough, man. I think this show is dope, man. It's needed, and we had a great. I had a great time. I know y'all had a great time, and I can't wait to do the part 2, man. And
Yeah.
I agree with everybody's points, man. And that's something I've been saying for the longest time, that the issue is an internal issue. We will, and I mean, hey, Chief Zed, man, Ben I me killed that, because again, that's the ultimate solution right there. Until we get things right with ourselves and with our God, we will never, ever, ever see the light of day in regards to this captivity being over. And people are not willing to accept that. And I think what I really think is going to happen it is that because there's not a large acceptance of that, it's going to be similar to like a wilderness situation when we came out of Egypt, and those who have a mentality that's poisonous to our people are going to have to die before we start to see any light of day as far as this captivity being over with. And that's just the reality of the situation. As sad as it may sound, um, but yeah, but definitely, man, I can't wait to continue on with the next show, man, and see where that goes and where it takes us, man. And just continue to do this every week, man. Get more consistent. Have the sound effects like Yashayahu said, man. I damn sure was thinking about that, because I gotta come with the I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, man. I'm a year right there, man. That's my thoughts on the show today, man. All praise to the Most High, man.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, hallelujah. I'm gonna try to be as short as possible. Um, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, brothers, man. I appreciate the chief. I appreciate Yeshayahu. I appreciate Shaul. Um, I think that, man, Most High has brought me across some good brothers, good chemistry, some good humor, good personalities, to um, be there for those that's listening. Hopefully, we'll see how they take us, how they receive us as we continue. Um, my closing, I want to say, the reason I was like how I was with Chief because, man, I did not know he was gonna go there, but I should have known. I believe Ben Ami is one of the greatest vessels, I guess you could say, that the Most High has used, even greater than the Malcolm X, even greater than the Martin Luther Kings and the Marcus Garveys. And the reason I say that, I know that they made a big step on the U.S. soil, but Marcus Garvey has showed us how we can literally take our people and create outside of what they told us, and they tell us that we need the U.S. You can't go nowhere. Matter of fact, go if you want to go, but they know we're not going to go. Ben Ami did that. Took some people into Africa first, before he went to Israel, by the way, for a couple years. And then the people that came with him, a lot of them went back to America because they didn't see the vision. They couldn't handle some of the I guess, not, I ain't gonna say diseases. Chief Jam can correct me on that, but they was going through a lot of hardships and they couldn't do it. But he stayed strong and was the leader for his people and took them to Israel and Dimona. For those of you that don't know who we're talking about, a nice amount of people. And then he stuck to what he believed was truly his culture, his people culture, the Torah, and acted out the Torah in a way that Jewish people don't. Well, matter of fact, I will say that. And they are still flourishing today with a lot of people there. Now, some people will say, hey, well, they got issues. Well, in every group of people, there are issues. There are robbers, there are stealers, there are rapists. There are all types of people, which goes back to what me and Shaul brought out. And what I always say is only a remnant in every organization, whether you are Islam, Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are Jehovah's Witness, whether you are Amish, whether you are whatever, it's only a remnant that truly acts out and does what they believe. But Ben Ami, in my opinion, and I don't take credit. I don't take the what Malcolm X and them did. They did great things, but Ben Ami he surpassed them in my opinion. He showed what we can actually do from a talking standpoint. He did action. They did action too. I'm not knocking them, but he just did it on a different level. That is why I love what the chief brought out with Ben Ami. Do your history on him. You're going to have people that's going to say negative stuff and or positive. But all of these leaders gave us a tool. They gave us examples that we could use to help form our own. And actually, all of them, some of them, especially Ben Ami, they established with the Jeremiah 29. To be honest with you, they did. They took little pieces of this stuff and they applied it. And if we can literally take some of Jeremiah 29 and we put it towards what we're trying to go forward, a solution. Okay, you're doing all this riot, you're doing all this protesting. It has to be something after it. And I bet not see anybody. And this is my small version of Juneteenth, by the way. If you're doing all this stuff, I better see y'all doing Juneteenth. I better not see none of y'all doing July 4th. And part 2, we gonna bring out Juneteenth, even though it's gonna be after Juneteenth. Right? I'm just trying to put that out there. And with that, I yield. With that, I yield, man. We appreciate you. We love you. Those that tuned in, we are, as Shaul wanted us to say, one
Yeah.
2,
2,
3.
3.
The
The
Masada
Masada
Watchmen.
Watchmen. And I ain't gonna
Hallelujah.
hold you.
I like that. Yeah, I ain't gonna hold. Shalom, all of you. We love you. We can't wait to see y'all next week. Shalom.
Gang,
Absolutely.
gang. Shalom.
Shalom.
Peace.
Peace and beloved.